All right. Welcome to HLPN News. That is Hilton Live Paranormal News. I am your host, Dr. Dedrick Hilton. Welcome to our show tonight. We have a very exciting show. Now, we're going to touch on some topics that have been in the news, but we're going to expand upon them and the current update information that has been revealed in the last few days. But before I go any further, I want to bring on a good friend of mine, a guest, a UFOologist, has a very unique, distinct view of what's going on in the world, and particularly in the UFO world. And everyone, welcome my good friend, Jim Andre.
Hi, how you doing, Dedrick?
What's going on, Jim? How's everything?
Pretty good. How's everything going with you?
It's going well. It's going well. It feels good to be back on air again, you know?
Yeah, same here. Thanks for having me on.
Now, Jim, listen, man, a lot been going on in the media. I mean, mind blowing.
It's really starting to roll out now, yeah.
Oh man, they rolling out that alien red carpet, man. They're gonna be at the Grammys and stuff, posing with the Kardashians and everything and stuff, man. And I know for everybody, if you've been paying attention, if you have been paying attention, the whistleblower, that distinct member in Congress, has stated that the Pentagon and other countries have been interacting with UFOs and aliens for decades. And we also have numerous crafts in our possessions. And we're going to go more into that. But before we go any further, then we also had the submarine unfortunate incident of the possibly of people imploding in the ocean. I'm not going to dwell on that too much, but I say that for a reason because, guys, we need to keep the gas full down on the government right now. For real. We're talking about alien technology, UFO crafts. The government been interacting with aliens for decades, and we need to keep the pressure on the government. And get ready because you're going to see more distractions come about so we forget about these topics. Remember, Jim, the last show we did was the one about the craft flying over the United States and also flying over Canada getting shot down, right?
Right.
And what happened? Something happened in the news. Everybody forgot about it.
Right.
That's the game they're playing. No, as long as I'm around, as long as Jim is around, we're going to be talking about this. And we're going to keep our eyes and ears to the content, and we're going to discuss it. And this is the place you want to be because everybody, first of all, the topic, if there's aliens out there, we don't have to have that anymore. We don't have to debate that. That's already been proven, not just by the whistleblower. Now you got Canada coming out saying it. And before we go to forward, just to show you guys a quick recap, whistleblower, not all non-human intelligence are friendly. Remember, he said that. So, Jim, what's your thought about that? Not all non-intelligence are friendly.
Well, I mean, I seen that Dr. Stephen Greer there with before Congress, and according to him, he's been a researcher for many years.
Right? True indeed.
And according to him, there are no hostile aliens that ever interacted with Earth. So, I mean, that there is kind of a contradiction. I can't claim that I know for sure, but I don't think it is their intention to harm us in any way because of the simple fact that, if they wanted to do that, they could have annihilated man a long time ago.
Right. Let me touch on that. Now he said not all of them are friendly. So that means there might be one or two they came encounter with. Maybe a aircraft.
Well, I would think the ones that don't have our best intention in mind would kind of be skeptic to maybe, come around to begin with. Where I think the majority of species wouldn't allow that anyway.
Interesting. Very interesting. And we're gonna see where this goes because, as you can see, with all this information rolling out, we're getting insight from different officials, people that worked on these programs on different levels. And, and to touch on Dr. Stephen Greer, he even said himself, he said, there's some programs out there that people be working on one thing and they all don't, and somebody in another part of the country working on something and they don't even know they're working on the same program.
Right.
You know, to go further, guys, we also had NASA. 3 weeks, the week before or 2 weeks before, Dr. What's his name? I'm sorry, David Grush is his name. Before David Grush, the whistleblower, before he came out, NASA held a whole event, which is on YouTube. You got to go watch. Or matter of fact, if you don't want to go to YouTube, go ahead and join the Hilton Live Paranormal group, Paranormal News group, and I have all these video footages in there. And they had a whole conference, a 3-hour conference about UFOs. Not disputing if they were real, but what has been seen, what they could be possibly be, and they didn't say no space junk or those type of bullcrap theories to deter us away. Real situations and policies they putting in place. NASA, this whole meeting was strictly about UFOs before the whistleblower came out, which was the following week. So, Jim, what are your thoughts about NASA also jumping in now on this?
Well, yeah, I mean, everything is, everybody's getting on the same boat, I guess. Once it starts trickling out, I mean, there's not much they can conceal, from there. But it's coming out in a certain pattern, and it's definitely rolling out. There's no doubt about that. Like you said, there's no more room for debate as to whether extraterrestrials exist or they don't exist. I mean, it's out there that they do. So.
And what's interesting about the whistleblower, once again, our good friend David Grush for coming out and telling it, a high-ranking official that's working for the government right now, everybody. This is not some guy off the street that's retired. He's actually working still for the government. Goes to work every day up in D.C. What's interesting, I'm going to touch on some of the things he said, because I know we get excited. I know I get excited about UFOs, aliens. But he stated, obviously, not all of them are friendly. But he also stated, when the news guy asked him, by the way, go into Hilton Live Paranormal News group on Facebook, join the group so you get up-to-date information. He stated that some might be from space. And he said that he also believed, by him being a physicist, that they're coming in through portals or other dimensions here on Earth. I'm going to say it again, portals and dimensions. Talk to us, Jim. Talk to us.
Oh yeah. There's I believe that's a very good possibility. I mean, in order to travel the universe and space-time itself, it would take forever to get back and forth. So they get a way of bending and warping the fabric of space and using portals to shorten the trip, if you will, make it a lot easier just to hop from one dimension to another.
Portals, and we did a previous show about portals. Remember that? Portals popped up on Earth, and then what a lot of people don't know is that the French was experimenting with portals this past summer. So, off of we know, the French probably when they experimenting with portals, they probably was finding them and seeing crafts coming through too. And remember, portals, to everybody's watching, portals could pop up anywhere, anytime, in the ocean, anywhere.
Yeah, I believe they have the technology where they can just bend and warp the time and space and just, penetrate the fabric of space, if you will, hop one dimension to another.
Very interesting. Another thing, America, I want to talk to you guys about is today on this show, and we're just going to lead kind of into the guts of what we're talking about here. All right, shocking letter exposes top secret UFO programming involving Canada and Five-Eye aliens. Now, this comes from a Canada prime minister, official up there, chimed in, and he was a guest on this show today. And it's in once again, all the shows, everything I'm listening is in the Hilton Live Paranormal News Facebook group. Go join it. Now, Jim, he really dropped some bombshells today. I mean, we've been getting them all week, but I'm glad to hear it from another country.
Right.
I'm going to tell you some things that we said. We're going to touch on some topics. his stories is kind of, they're reaching.
Yeah.
He has stated that we have had meetings with aliens repeatedly on bases out in space.
Yeah, I believe that all these meetings and connections with extraterrestrials began in way back in the early 40s.
Yes, and he said that we still are having meetings, government officials.
Oh yeah,
with aliens out in space. He said they're flying us out there, and he even talking about some of these aliens are coming from near moons and stuff by Venus. He said there's humanoid ones. He said there's five-eyed ones. He said the grays are real and the greens are real.
Right.
Well,
the Nordics are more human-like than all of them. I think that's my opinion.
Yes, and that's what came. And matter of fact, the whistleblower stated that too. He said there are humanoid ones. He said, that's fact. He said they're grays and greens too. Yeah. We're seeing. He said there's other ones that look nothing like humans, very far off.
Right.
Like what we probably witnessed in Las Vegas, which we'll jump back on that in a moment. But the guy in Canada, the government leader, said that they got crafts. And he also stated that with the United States shot down about 2-3 months ago in March, I think it was. He said shot down, he said, was actually a UFO craft. He said it was a spear. And he said that was real. He said that was a real craft. It wasn't re-engineered, and a cube within a spear. You see, guys, see the spear? Now they say this is what we were seeing that they said were flying over. Where was that? In Alaska that they shot down. And they claimed they couldn't retrieve it. He talked about five-eyed aliens. Very interesting. He talked about hidden bases under the water in mountains.
Oh, I believe they've been around for years. Yeah.
He said Area 51 has technology, but is really like a museum of crafts they got down there. He said they have technology scattered all across the world.
Oh yeah, and, they've been back engineering all this technology for years now.
So what do you think about China and the United States working silently behind the scenes together on alien technology and interacting with aliens?
Yeah, I think that a lot of these, major countries worldwide are together on whatever's coming down the pike. They're all working in tandem. I mean, it's their agenda to form a one world government. So in order to do that, they would have to work together.
I believe that because he also stated that Russia has stuff. Now I'm gonna jump on another theory why this is on my mind here. Because Dr. David Greer stated this, right? Or Stephen Greer. I'm sorry, Stephen Greer, right?
Stephen Greer, yep.
Apologize.
Stephen Greer, yeah.
Dr. Stephen Greer stated this. He says that there's obviously, which we already know, hidden government militaries, black ops and stuff.
Oh yeah.
He said that is working with aliens, working on this technology, and he said it costs billions of dollars. And he said that another reason why they need to come clean about it, because he said what they're doing is they're using backhanded ways with the world, just not America.
Oh yeah, this is a worldwide. This is on a worldwide scale, no doubt.
Yeah, on a worldwide scale. He said to fund these expeditions that off the planet Earth.
Yep.
He said, and here on Earth. He said this stuff costs billions, and they have to provide for this hidden military.
Yeah, that's all the black op operations, yeah.
Right. Well, Jim, let's just say hypothetically, not hypothetically, let's keep it real. If they have to take money from the world to fund these ventures, you don't know it's a coincidence that all countries are having recessions at the same time?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
All countries' economies are bad at the same time?
Yeah, they don't put their priorities in the right order. That's for sure.
Right. Well, could it be that the economy we're seeing and the poor economy and inflation and all this other stuff is being staged to suck money from
Yeah,
humanity
exactly.
to fund these ventures?
Right. That's what they're doing. They're straining the economy to fund their further agenda. Yeah.
Right. And at a time where all this information coming out now, look, you're older than me, but I remember in the 80s in my lifetime, I'm in my upper 40s. I remember we didn't have all this inflation growing up. We didn't have all this recession growing up. Now it's like it comes like clockwork every 5 years or every 4 years is coming around a recession, inflation.
Yeah. You know, a lot of that's by design too, you know, to put a strain on the population. I'm sure you've heard recently of there's like maybe 24 major food processing plants in 1 month that mysteriously caught on fire. So what does that do? That
production.
Yeah, right. Now that increases the price of food tremendously, right?
That's right, supply and demand.
And that's what we're experiencing right now as we speak. And it's all by design.
All by design. And since we're talking about that, this is a worldwide event because, guys, UFOs have been spotted in other countries. They have been sighted. Brazil have had their version of Roswell and stuff. Russia talked about some illuminated object flying over their nuclear plant, and it triggered their missiles where it could have started a World War III. And Dr. Stephen Greer also talked about how the United States and Russia and China have an agreement, a written agreement that was formulated in the 50s and 60s, stating that, because they already knew about the UFOs and the aliens, and they said that they could trigger nuclear plants, and they said they have a code word they're going to use with each other to let them know if one of them triggering it, so they know, like, hey, whoa, don't fire back. That's not us.
Right.
That's not us.
But you know,
doing that.
My opinion is that's the last thing any UFO would do, or any alien. I mean, if anything, I think they want to prevent a nuclear holocaust at all expense, because, I mean, if we destroy this world, that means it's going to have a domino effect on the rest of the solar system, which will have an effect on the extraterrestrials themselves. You see?
And they're very concerned. That's what they said.
That's right. And so I know for a fact they will intervene, and it won't be to save man from man himself. We're on our own. You know, we made our bed. We got to sleep in it. Okay. But they will be here to preserve the planet and to save their own skin.
Hey, Donna, how you doing? We got Jacqueline Dixon in the house. We got Donna. How's it going, everybody? Now let me piggyback off of that. Dr. Stephen Greer and his disclosure documentary that came out right after the whistleblower, like the following week. He did that. So that's a updated conference that he had. And for y'all don't know, that he had all high-ranking military officials, government officials, Navy, Marines, Army, Special Forces, all these different groups that's to discuss.
Right, and a lot of them
they've been in.
And a lot of them officials were participating in acts that weren't quite so legit. So
that's right. That wasn't mandated by the powers that be.
But that was unknowingly on their part. So they're basically speaking with immunity. You know? Exactly.
So I'm going to touch on that because we say this is worldwide. One of them caught my attention. This one here. This was August 2009. He claimed this incident happened in Indonesia. This is a Marine here. He said him and his platoon was going down through the jungles and stuff, right, over in Indonesia, and they came across a platform with a giant object over it. And when he came out, he said that these other men drew guns on him, like a whole group on that. They were far more unarmed than them. So they were far more armed. They had bigger weapons. He said you could obviously tell somebody invested in their garments, their weapons, and everything. And he said that they out-manpowered him and other Marines and made them give up their weapons. They took their IDs, they put guns to their heads and everything. They told them they shouldn't be there. They shouldn't be. He said, "What are they doing here?" And they're like, "Hey, look, man, you know, we was on a mission. We didn't know what they walked up on." And he said, as they're talking to him, and he said the other soldier that with the other group was like, "Yo, we should just waste them. We should just wait." They're like, "No, because then they'll put eyes on them." Looking for these Marines, these missing Marines now, right? So he said he's watching them, and as you see in the picture here, he said that he's there. He said they were watching he's watching what's going on as they got these guns going on them. And he said they were loading up weapons into this craft, drugs into this craft at the time. And he said, and even humans. Even humans. And he said the craft raised up, the center part like kind of flattened out. And then he said it just went up above the tree levels and darted off into the sky and disappeared. Now, before we go any further than that, this is another thing that's been coming up in the news about these crafts. And he said he don't know if it was alien or reverse engineering. He don't know. But there's a lot of talk now that they're using these crafts to also traffic drugs and humans.
My guess is the military itself, government itself, with the back engineering aspect of it. That's my guess.
Reverse engineering.
Reverse engineering,
yeah. And this is one of the things which the great Dr. Greer stated. He stated that America has this mentality. Maybe he was just talking about mainly America. He said America has this mentality. If they come across something that's good, they always got to weaponize it.
Right.
He said.
Well, yeah. In other words, they scoop that up and they use that for their own nefarious intentions and control, basically.
Exactly.
In other words, they want to be in control. That's the bottom line.
Exactly. And that's one I think is one of the dangers why why a lot of them are not coming clean about this technology, because first of all, whoever masters it down to detail is going to turn it into military.
Right. Yeah, they're going to use it for their own
wars and stuff.
Right.
And the whistleblower stated that another reason why the government hasn't came clear about this yet, he said, because the technology that they got their hands on could end poverty, world hunger. He said it'll change the way, natural resources, the way we use energy.
Exactly. Right.
And he said it will destroy the oil company.
Free energy, yeah. Free energy, yeah.
He said it'll destroy them. And he said, believe it or not, these major oil companies have their hands in on this too with the government. And of course. And before we go any further, he also stated that before the Roswell incident, a craft crashed in Italy, and the Vatican called the United States and told them they need to come get it. And he said the United States still having in custody, and that's when the news report asked the whistleblower, which was David Grush. He said, "So you telling me the Vatican even knows that there's other life forms?"
Of course
and
they
said,
do.
Absolutely.
Of course they do, yeah.
And the reason they don't want to air it out because this was 1930 something they saw this, or 20 something. He said, if we knew that there's other life form that could get to us or advanced civilization, it's going to destroy the church.
Yeah, it destroy the theory of religion, yeah.
Yeah, and we all know the world used religion to control humans.
But then again, maybe it wouldn't, because you got to understand that, if there's a creator, everything within the creation was created by the creator anyway, even if there's extraterrestrials.
Well, or the extraterrestrials are the creator.
Well,
see,
I believe everything stems from a source, in essence,
right?
Which is an energy that makes all this possible. See what I'm saying? So to me, the extent of a God would be the energy that moves you,
right?
Your consciousness and your biological element for you to be able. You got to have them three things: the energy, the consciousness, and the biological structure to experience existence in this realm. And another thing we have to admit to ourselves is that we're in a random, chaotic, unforgiving realm. There's no doubt about that. There's chaos everywhere. But but then again, that's natural. See, that's natural because that's the way this realm is designed. Okay, you got chaos within nature itself in the form of natural disasters. If a tsunami came by and wiped out 250,000 people at one time, do you think the universe itself or nature would feel guilty in any way?
Well, you know.
So and seeing whereas there's chaos within nature itself, there'll always be chaos amongst men.
Always be chaos amongst men, and that's very interesting. And I'm glad you say that, because that leads me into my other point. How we see everything in the world today, we see it through the eyes of humans.
Right.
Why? And it's natural to see.
It just so happens to be a fact that humans are the most detrimental species to this planet.
And probably the galaxy.
And not only to this planet, but to themselves.
And to the galaxy, most likely.
Right, exactly. That's where this is all going. See?
Yeah.
Now what I curse is our intelligence, right? For example, a cow grazing in a field is more than likely doing just that, satisfied doing just that, grazing in a field. But man, due to his high level of intelligence, distorts the simplicity of nature and will never truly be satisfied until he self-annihilates.
Right. You know, and it's interesting because he said that it could be other dimensions, and he's talked about the DNA, where some of the aliens have made statements to the United States that we are low quality remakes of them.
Well,
engineer,
more like rejects. Well, probably more like rejects.
Rejects. Like somebody dropped some alien semen with radiation, and we popped up.
Here's an analogy for you. You could have a colony of 90 billion ants living together in one colony in perfect harmony within nature, without any friction, with a brain 1/1,000,000th the size of man's. What's man's excuse?
Man. The human experience. The human experience, Jill. Moving right along, the human experience. So we saw the craft, and to talk about some other craft was on this documentary Disclosure. By the way, go ahead and join Hilton Live Paranormal News group on Facebook. Make sure you join it. We got all these pictures up. We have the actual documentary show and everything that was done recently on there, so you catch all that footage, because some of this stuff is hard to retrieve back on YouTube. I picked up on that. Well, anyway, so you have this gentleman here. He stated that the Black Diamond craft seen here is ours. He said this one here is ours. You know, reverse engineering and crafts and stuff. And he said that when you see a craft with, like, I don't want to say tentacles, but cables hanging down or different things, he said that's reverse engineering. Now, he said there is real alien ones out there. He said the alien ones are smoother. They don't have anything hanging down on them and stuff. So you have here with the reverse, like, I guess this is like anti-gravity propulsion in the center. Now, Jim, what do you think about these tic-tac objects?
Well, I think they're extraterrestrial, or they could be military. I mean, they could be throwing those out there just to, you know, come out with what they want to roll out and what they're leading up to. You know, it's hard to say, really.
Hard to say. And if it's reverse engineering, obviously that means that they got a real alien one somewhere nearby.
Right.
Another thing that Dr. Stephen Greer stated, he said that there are crafts that they have retrieved with writing on the side that resembles hieroglyphics. He said it's not hieroglyphic, but it resembles hieroglyphics and stuff. Now, this here was taken, they said right now, is one of the clearest photos of a UFO that you can find on the internet. Now, they obviously said, even the whistleblowers say, no, they got real footage of stuff that will freak people out. He said, like, real clear footage. This is a picture of object. Now, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think this was the one that was taken by a woman that was recently on a commercial airline looking out the window. And she actually caught it. That was done recently. That was caught like 3 weeks ago. So let's go into some other things. So extraterrestrial red line. Crafts have been down near over Earth, he said, numerous times. He said these operations pose a threat to both humans and other civilization. So this is like extraterrestrial red line that was stated to the public of some things why we should be concerned.
Right.
Why we should be concerned. Do you think we should be concerned moving forward?
Well, I think we should be concerned You know, I don't fear the extraterrestrials. I feel the I fear the you know, the military industrial complex.
Well, that's good. That leads to the other one because there have been rumors about, well, I won't say rumors, but there has been accusation by people that have indirect relations with government officials by saying that they are working on staging a fake alien invasion to unite all
Well,
the countries together.
you know, I know it sounds bizarre, but you know, I'm an alien contactee. I'm in connection. I'm connected to the Zeta Reticular, and you know, my connection tells me that's exactly what's coming down the pike, and that's what they're grooming us for, and that's what they're preparing for.
An alien, and he stated that you'll see a mothership come from the sky, but hidden in the hologram will actually be our aircrafts hidden in the hologram, shooting and blowing up stuff and killing humans. So
Right.
we have a problem of a possible, but we're aware of this. Do you think the government that bold to push this invasion, even if there's a small population that's?
Oh yeah, I think they'll move forward and do whatever they please. I mean, this is their agenda. That's what they've been working towards. And even though we speculate the way we speculate at this, excuse me, at this moment, you know, many will believe it's an actual alien invasion. Look what happened with Orson Welles, was it, in the 1930s? He
Right.
had that radio broadcast where we were being invaded.
War of the Worlds.
The War of the Worlds, exactly. And people were, it was a bunch of chaos. Some people even went as far as to commit suicide. It put so much fear into them. So imagine this day and age, how much fear could be put upon the masses with a false flag alien invasion. You know, if they ever pull that off, they can go ahead with their agenda to form that one world government with little or no resistance whatsoever, and everybody worldwide will fear extraterrestrials and be willing to give up their rights and freedom
and money
for safety. You see,
hence why we got the Space Force military existing right now. All that came about in the same era. Now, what's interesting is Dr. Stephen Greer stated that it was a scientist in a hangar. There was in a hangar, and you know they're looking at other crafts and stuff and everything. And he said there was a craft hovering over him up in the hangar, up pretty high in the hangar. So this is a huge hangar, right? And he's like, wow, man. He's like, why we got this thing running inside this hangar here? And he said he was standing underneath it. And the guy said, come on, walk with me. And he said when he turned back around, he said, turn back around. He said he was talking about the craft that was hovering over his head. And he asked him a question, and the guy finally started saying, man, what craft are you talking about? He said, the big one that's hovering over the thing. We turned around and looked back, the craft was gone.
It's a hologram, yeah.
Hologram. And the guy told me, he said, it was a hologram. He said, no, there was an actual craft. I'm looking up. He said, a hologram, you could look through it. He said, that's how advanced we are. It looks solid.
Right.
And he said they already been using methods of this in the military. And I'm prior military myself. And I remember hearing from my drill instructor in basic one time how they could project tanks.
Yeah.
And the enemy shoots at the tank. And that's how they know where the enemy located at. And then the tank disappear off the radar because there's no real tank there. So we already have this technology for anybody that's watching. Now let's go a little bit further. I don't want to hold everybody up, but let's move a little bit further. So the other guy on the new channel, they talked about Antarctica, madness in Antarctica. He said that the Germans have been having hidden bases in Antarctica, and they fled there at the end of World War II. And he said they've been working on alien and UFO technology out there. And he said they also had bodies stored there. Now, before we go any further, modern day time, he said that China, Russia, and the United States and another country has cities located under Antarctica. Talk to us, Jim.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah, I believe they've been there for a very long time.
And this is actual locations of, he said, they're buried there. He said, you go into tunnels and stuff that's in the mountains, and they take you deep down underground. He said real functional cities with people living underneath there, working on high advanced alien technology.
Right.
Once again, this is some more stuff right here.
Yeah, Admiral Byrd was a big part of that.
Right, right. Very interesting stuff. This is another one that I wanted to show that was in the disclosure documentary. Now, if you look right here, the silver part, like you see there at the bottom, that's the top chamber. He said you go in through there, but that goes deep down underground, he said. And he said that's where they harbor actual crafts at. And they have tunnels that they fly out of, these crafts.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, oh, yeah.
Let's go right here. Let's see. Got some more information for everybody. Legal intelligence and military this is a characteristic of a legal secret government groups and projects. These are the characteristics of what these groups will look like and what they would do. Their legal intelligence and military are victims. Similar operation parallel to U.S., where they will resemble U.S. like military, typical, we're flying this country, type stuff, but really it's some Blackwater crazy stuff going on. Blackmail, bribery, intimidation, abusing the public mentally and psychologically, operates without acknowledging national boundaries, meaning they're not playing by any government or nation rules and policies.
Right.
Very interesting. So if you see these guys in all black, tactical, like in Las Vegas, that popped up.
Men in black. Yeah.
Remember that last week, the other week, that family went quiet. And the community went quiet. And they said, hey, look, we wasn't lying. You saw it on camera. You heard the boom. The cops was investigating it live with their body cam. And they said the next day, 2 days later, they said they had all types of black SUVs with no license plates on it, men in black running around, the military looking for stuff. Now, if this was be fake or a hoax, then why we got all these people running around looking for these crafts and wanting to talk to people in the neighborhood?
That could all be staged as well,
Yeah.
Leading up to what's coming,
Yeah. But, I think, my opinion, I believe the information that we're getting is real. I think it is leading up to something that's evident. That's evident.
Yeah, there's a reason. There's a reason behind
There's a reason. I even think the Las Vegas incident might have some truth to it, because who will put money up and the 911 call and all that stuff, and then the camera, the body cam, and then you have the other cameras on the doors showing like the residence building is shaking, wherever it hit the ground, and then the people calling in, and what they're not telling you, there's another family called in and said they saw the same thing. That don't even know these residents, say they saw the same looking creature in the background. Yeah. And this happened before the news show that we were talking about tonight was aired. So it's not like this family watched the news show and then say, all right, let's hear what they say. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So the news show come back later and describing similar situations. So like I tell everybody, the argument of are we alone? That's old. Anybody that's pitching that show, that's, man, you might go watch a 1995 show. You know what I'm saying? That's a dead. That's dead. We already established we're not alone.
Right.
Now we want to know when you're going to come out and with full disclosure.
At this point, it's just a question of who is who.
Who exactly? Who's who? I need to know, because something's flying over my car in traffic. If I see some cables hanging out, I'm like, oh, that's one of us. Don't worry, kids. You're not evaporating us. That's good old America right there. Now, if I start seeing beams coming down,
they're not evaporating us yet.
Yeah, yet. But if I see my car start shaking, I look in the back seat and my kids are going and shit, I'm like, oh man, like, help me, please. Whatever God out there, Anunnaki, whoever, help me, please. It's funny because look at this one here. That was in disclosure. They said this was seen.
Yeah. And
he said that the stairs looked like it wasn't even attached to anything, how it came out. He said this is a huge, now, funny, some of y'all don't know, he said that they have crafts double the size of football fields. So that means wherever they're being harbored at is big in itself.
Yep.
But I mean,
the motherships, man, they can be miles long.
We guys, I believe in our lifetime, within the next year or two, before 2025, we're gonna see some ish like this on the news one day. Like how 9/11 shocked the world, we're gonna see something like this one day.
It's all going to come to a head soon. That's my belief.
Oh, very, very soon, because this information is pouring out like diarrhea. I don't know if that's a good analogy, but I don't know if it's a good analogy, but
Definitely get the picture.
yeah, it's pouring out now. So, guys, look, man, Jim, I want to thank you for coming on the show. We're gonna have Jim back again. Make sure you join Hilton Live Paranormal News Facebook group to get more information. We also have the podcast on Spotify, Anchor FM, Google, iTunes. That's right. Hilton Live Paranormal News. We have the actual podcast on there too. So if you're on the subway train or you're your lunch break and just want to get some good topics, we're covering everything, not just UFO. We're covering stuff about ghost story. We're covering stuff about hoodoo, everything on this paranormal news podcast. And I think you guys should tune in. Jim, any final words before you go?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm probably repeating myself, but my opinion is life is a journey to be experienced, not a problem to be solved.
On that note, spiritual family, America, aliens, anybody that's watching this, the government, I couldn't say any better. I'm Dr. Deborah Hilton. This is Jim Andre, y'all. This is Hilton Live Paranormal News. Thank you guys for tuning in. And
thank you for having me. Thank you.
You guys, keep your eyes to the sky. If you see anything, share it in the Hilton Live Paranormal News group on Facebook. Share it in there. Share your content. Any stories, anything that happened, you woke up and missing an organ, share it. Stay blessed, stay strong, keep your eyes to the sky, and the truth is out there.